course, the people that are getting
Good morning.
Guten Morgen.
Happy Saturday.
Wie geht's, mein deutsche Freunde?
Pretty sure that's not English.
Okay. Let me see if we are live.
Yes, we are.
We are?
Paul, Tony.
Who's first?
Okay, let me see.
That's the question.
Oh, okay. It's a tie. And remember, Paul, only our screen counts. It's a tie. Paul and Tony, 10:01 and 16 seconds. We didn't mean to be that late. Good morning, Wim. Good morning, Aramis. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Gavin. Sim. Did you see the recent Mike Tyson on pads clip that came out yesterday? Oh, is that the one that you sent?
Yeah, this morning.
He sent it to me this morning.
Upper body rotation, I said. You see it now, right? Good people, you see how much he overdoes it? Completely turns in. I love that, man. Yeah, it's going to be against Do they know already who is going to be against? I know, but I don't know if I was allowed to say that.
I don't know.
Yeah, because I heard.
Oh, that's right, because he's ready to come back, right?
He's making a comeback. It's for charity, and it's going to be a small event, and I'm probably going to be there. Somebody got me for ticket.
When is it supposed to be?
I don't know yet. It's like in a couple of months.
In a couple months?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. It's I have to look it up. But they asked me about it already. My old manager actually. He told me. He said, "Yeah, don't say it yet where it is going to be, and I don't even know where it's going to be." But
right.
I know his opponent at least.
Okay.
That's what they said. So. Okay, so how many? We got a bunch of people. Yes, we got a bunch of people. And otherwise, they can rewind, right? This is how it goes. Good.
Yes. So
we are going to do my cable workout. This is a great workout. If you didn't train power training for a long time, for a while, I would do just one set. Because if your muscles react like my muscles react, if I do 4 sets of this, that's it. Tomorrow I'm going to be. If I do biceps curls, I do 4 sets. The next day I cannot. I have to stretch my arm. It's like they react just really freaking crazy. So that's why I always say do 1 set of each. Everything. Then tomorrow you do another set of each, and then you do 2 sets and 3 sets, and boom, 4 days later you can do anything you want. So it's all about upper body rotation, all about core. This is a great drill for the core. This is also really great for keeping your back foot on the floor, because you remember when I said straight punches, they come from your back foot. You see you pushing up on your back foot. Well, with this particular exercise, if you don't have your back foot on the floor, you're going to fly back. You're going to be forced to put the foot on the ground. Really good with the right, very easy with the right, but now it's going to give you a really good feeling with the left. Because you're going to experience yourself. I'm going to show it first, because otherwise I keep talking. First of all, this makes it a little higher than your shoulder. In the past, I didn't do that, so it would scrape over my shoulders. And I do 24 repetitions or 25 repetitions with this cable workout. So it starts scraping over your shoulder. Watch out that it does that. Now, just straight forward. Keep your elbow inside. Don't bring your elbow up. That's a different exercise. We don't punch like this. We punch with the elbow down. Now the trick is to rotate. So normally I always step a little bit away, rotate, and then push back. Now normally I would love for you to do this, but as you can hear on the machine, if you explode, eventually you're going to break the machine. So watch out with that. I wouldn't do it. Push up on the back foot, complete core. Don't worry about speed, just worry about power and make it long. This is important. Then I go to the left and I do this in my same stance. Left leg front. Now you're really going to feel on your left punch that you're pushing off your back leg. This is really good for your mind and body to connect. Because now, if you do this, you're going to feel that in training also. And again, rotation. Try to find a mirror. Make sure that every time you see your right shoulder passing your left, and you constantly rotate. 25 repetitions of this. For you, of course, you need to find a weight with which you can just do 25 repetitions. That's the trick. We go to body shots. So these were straight punches. Body shots. Body shots I put in this height because it's kind of a diagonal punch. What I'm doing now, left leg front, and I'm standing in such an angle that I constantly have pressure on this arm. If I'm standing here, that would be good, but if I stand a little bit to the side, now I have more power. So find the spot where you constantly feel the power of the cable pulling at you. Now, again, move away. Now what you're going to do is this arm, imagine there's a metal bar here. And you can't do this with your arm. Nothing, not at all. So the only way to rope is to do this. And you see what I'm doing? I don't do this. I'm stabbing it in there. To the side. Perfect little shot. Switch. Do the same thing with your right. Again, find the spot. Where can you do the same? Where you can do the same thing. You see again, don't do that. Stab it. Boom, forward. But after I did this, I go back to the straight punches. So then I do again this height, and I do the straight punches. And then I go.
Do you ever switch your stance?
No, I never switch my stance. You can do that. The reason why I don't want you to do it in the beginning is because it makes you, like I said, put your mind and your body connection together on the left, on your lead hand, that you have to push off on the back foot. I want you to make that connection because that's the most important connection there is. Because if you start punching while pushing off on the back foot, this is not a jab anymore, especially in our stance, a wide stance. This is a straight punch now. A straight punch, well, people cannot take a straight punch. A jab, like I always say, I eat your jab, but I trade it for a right hand. Because the jab doesn't have any power. So, straight punches, body shots, straight punches back, and then this one. This one in the beginning, I hated this the most because it kills your abs. But it became now became my favorite exercise, just because of that reason. Uppercuts, and also stand in the same stance. Once you get familiar with it, you can start switching stances. That's not a problem. But in the beginning, I would just, if you're orthodox, stay in orthodox stance, just for that reason what I said, feeling that the jab, your left hand, is coming from the push-off on your back leg. Uppercuts, stand close to the machine. If I stay far away, the angle is different now, see? So, stand as close to the machine as possible. And now, I'm not only going to make an uppercut, I'm going to stretch my arms. I'm going to do this. So it's not only an uppercut, your uppercut will get strong from it, but it's also good for the underhooks, for wrestling. So you're going to get a very strong underhook. This, you really got to feel it going. Once you do this whole routine, you never have to do any sit-ups anymore. Now from this, I go back to the straight punches, body shots, straight punches, uppercuts. In the past, I had that I put it on this height, and I made hooks with it. But I started messing up my arms, my rotator cuff, like that. So I stopped with that exercise. So I didn't put any stress on there. So, straight punches, hooks to the body, straight punches, uppercuts. That is one set. You do everything, 25 repetitions, and the whole thing you're going to do 4 times. And then you're done with this exercise. That will work your core, trust me on that.
And then legs.
Oh, yes, of course, agree. There is another machine that we used to have at 24-hour fitness a long time ago. And it's a plate, and this thing comes out. You can put your thigh against it. You can put it like that thing. Mm-hmm. Well, I used that machine like that. So I put that roll all the way here, and I grabbed the bar, and then I start kneeing with that machine. If you do it like that, because we broke the machine, they weren't happy. Because what I did whoop, and I let it come loose from my knee, and then you catch it again on your leg because you want explosive power. But then we realized we were breaking the machine. So what I did then, I grabbed the handle and I just kneed as hard as I could against my forearms. But then you don't break the machine, everybody happy. So now here, what you can do is put one of those around your ankle, hook it on, and then you can do this. Now, preferably, I would like you to grab something that you can hold, because if you can hold something, you simply can use more power and more weight. Because this already is kind of pulling me back a little bit. So if you can grab something, that would be the best. And this, foot to flat on the floor, and just let your hip flexors do the work. This is it. The only thing you need to do. I used to do that a lot, because they will get so freaking strong. Then if you need somebody, well, it's over. And you know, it's easy to say. Look at me in pancreas. When I knee somebody, I'm not making it up. The fight's over. So if it's to the body, I knee once, fight is over. I don't think I ever need somebody who didn't go down. But what comes with that is I wait for the perfect spot, for the perfect timing, for the perfect opening. Waiting. Boom! I'm not that guy who goes, well, hey, knees. I don't like that. I like to throw knees when I'm 100% certain I'm going to nail them. But that's me, you know? Because once you start doing this, you see this a lot in a fight. Mm-hmm. And they're not effective with it in a real fight because they do it the same as they do in training.
Yeah.
You know? So.
And we do that in a warm-up because it's just a warm-up.
That's it.
So that's why. Couple questions. Can people use, if they don't have, obviously access to this machine, can they use the bands and like a lot of them come with a door, little thing you can put in the door and attach the band to?
Yeah, the rubber bands. Yeah, of course, you can always do that kind of stuff. Rubber band it's kind of good also on one side because it really starts, the further you punch out, the more resistance you have. And the punches, you really make a punch strong at the end of your punch. So that is good for, but on the other side, it pulls you back automatically. Mm-hmm. So just know that after that, you're going to have to do that yourself. A lot of people do this. That's too long. But if I do this, that's already too long out there. That's like a half a second. It means go, bop, always pull back immediately. Just get used to that. Never leave it hanging.
And what if someone only has body weight? What if they have nothing?
Oh, to do this with? Yeah. That's going to be a little harder.
Any options?
Only body weight. Yeah, that is going to be push-ups with hand claps. That's what I would do.
Yeah, true.
Push-ups with hand claps. The really wide ones maybe for the hooks, I don't know. For hooks, if you make them very wide, at least you get a little bit of that. Yeah, that's hard for body weight here. Unfortunately, but then I would say invest in the rubber bands.
Yeah,
those are very cheap things. You buy them and
what I would say on that, read reviews. One of our Melissa actually, she bought a thing of bands and they suck. They're horrible.
Oh.
I think I told you.
Yeah.
And she's still, because they didn't come from Amazon, so she's still trying to get her money back. So read reviews, make sure, because some bands are really cheap and they might break easily. So.
And it goes fast. They imitate everything. It's like the body action system. Every time we get complaints because they broke it, and then they show a picture. I said, "You didn't buy it from us. That's a bootleg." So if you buy from bodyactionsystem.com, it will not break. If it does break, we'll send you a new one. That's the guarantee. Mm-hmm. So it's a good guarantee.
Yeah, you want things like that. And Batman, yes, there is still a Q&A. He just wants
we're going to do
so you guys can. I've written down a couple questions, but feel free. We're going to move you guys into the other room now.
Yeah, and we already said it, and you can walk around a little bit. Well, maybe that's kind of fun, right?
Yeah, I was
you guys.
That too. See the gym.
You see? So let's walk through the gym a little bit. This is the cage where every morning we do our workouts in. Here we got on the wall pictures from fighting. There's our man Kimbo, all these guys here. Dwayne Ludwig, Kengo Watanabe up there, all signed gloves here from the one glove guy, who fought against Royce Gracie there. Vanderlei Silva. We got all these autographed from every fighter. Chuck Liddell. These, of course, the belts, the UFC and the Pancras belt. Some pictures up there. My fight against Funaki. Hector Lombard signed this. And there's Hector above there. This is the room where I normally teach and I always refer to. This is the biggest room we have here. You see, so that's a really nice room. Yeah, every 2 Thursdays we are working in this room. Outside there, pit. And that is for the women. We let women fight her for money. We battle money. We do that. And we do it only for our pleasure. Let's see. Get complaints again, boss. Yeah, that's what I want. Nice, right? This is a nice room. Okay, good. So, that's our wonderful Dana. Right there. Then, we're working here. Following her. This is the front desk when you walk in. That's where everybody. We have a little store here. A lot of stuff is gone right now. This is power training. There we have more weights here. I know it's. I hope I don't go too fast, guys.
I know we're not making it.
Yeah, this is all power training here. That's me there in the mirror. Boom, da boom, da boom. This is nice. Hope. Can you rise? Yeah, inside MMA. There's our thing with Kimbo. Man, we had such good times with that guy and his buddies. It was so awesome. Some posters. There's a really nice drawing somebody made against the great Kevin Randleman. This poster, I don't get that people don't buy it. This because, look,
Cool.
It's a badass poster because if you come close, these are all little pictures from my career. So from fighting, from when I was a baby, from everything. These are the... And the ladies have a soul, of course, shorts. But hey, that is it's nothing super exciting. Boom, against Coach Saka. That's nice. And now we'll go to the interview room. See? But now you saw a little bit of where we are. Look at this. My main man. A nice painting from Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Also. So I put everything ready here already. See? So we only have to sit down. And we're good. All right.
Okay.
That is the gym.
Paul wants to know, when you say block punch, do you focus more on the speed or more on the rotation or both?
Block punch that means that you block and immediately fire. So, with that said, imagine somebody in front of me stands here and he gives me a left kick to the body. I'm going to block that and right away punch, right? That's what we're going to do. Block, not stand there and punch. It's almost like I want to load up a punch. If I want to hit somebody really hard in the face, what do? I do this. Boom, right? I rotate and punch. Well, that's what you're doing. Block, punch, right away, fire back. So do it, act like you're loading up. Only the load up is the block, and then right away you fire. Really focus again on your back foot if you do that, because that's where all your power is. And if you really want to if you get angry, watch out that you don't close the distance too much, because that happens a lot with fighters when they're very angry, because they automatically bring their body closer to their opponent, and then you're jamming your strikes, so it takes the power out. So watch out.
Going a little back to the workout, do you still do your pool workouts?
Oh yeah, now I start again. I started jumping in my pool again since last month, because believe it or not, I'm very weird. I use my pool as a bathtub. So in the morning I jump in the pool, I have a big bar of soap next to the pool, and I wash myself in the pool. And in the evening before I go to bed, I like to jump in the pool as well. Now normally I do this the entire year. So when I keep doing that in the midwinter, well, sometimes the water is like 45 degrees. Pretty freaking cold. But since you've been doing it and slowly but surely your body gets used to it, then it's good. So having said that, yeah, the warm water now is again around over 67 degrees, which you need, because otherwise you can get hypothermia. I did it at 54 and 56 degrees. I would come out of the pool like this and I would jump in the jacuzzi. But then somebody told me, Pat Miletich actually told me, he says, that even Navy SEALs, they don't go below 67, because if you get hypothermia, you're not going to feel it. You're just going to slip away and you die. So from that moment on, I bought a bodysuit, like just a really 2 millimeter suit, like a summer thing, but only that keeps my core warm. So short sleeves and short pants, whatever you call that. What do you call that?
Shorts. Yeah.
Yeah, so that keeps the core a little warm, and then I just do the workout.
A couple people, Aaron and John, both want to know if you have a taller versus a shorter opponent. How do they handle that? Does the taller person have to come down to the shorter opponent's height?
Okay, so first of all, if you face a taller person, you want to fight inside his clinch, because everybody's striking is the most powerful. We were just talking about that, right? When I said at the end, that's where your power is the most power. Here in the beginning, it still needs to develop power. So if somebody has a reach much taller than you, if you fight him here, he has less power than you have, because your punches at short distance can travel longer than his to you. You see, so you always have to be in your opponent. Now, that's easier said than done, of course. What you're going to need is, if it's mixed martial arts, you need to be really, that's why I couldn't do it. Thankfully, I never had that problem. But because if you close the distance and you don't know how to defend yourself from a takedown, that's a problem. You see what I mean? But in Thai box, let's say it's Thai boxing or boxing, just fight inside the opponent's reach. That's always the best thing to do. You need a lot of cardio for that. So double up on cardio. Cardio is the number one thing anyway in fighting. There's no such thing, you hear me saying this all the time, as having enough stamina. You never have enough stamina. Just go crazy. Beat Tony. Look at Tony Ferguson, what he's doing. I mean, he's just demolishing people just because he's got great endurance. There you go. Now, a taller opponent fighting a smaller guy, a shorter guy, I would squat a little bit lower, especially if it's a wrestler, because otherwise it's easier to take down, and then I would, yes, use a jab. But, not just a regular jab, because like I said, I eat your jab and I trade it with the right overhand right. So, but if you stand in our stance and you step more square and you start firing off while rotating the upper body, now it's a straight punch. I have to block or let that punch miss. I have to acknowledge the punch. Whatever I need to do, it gives me a little bit more time to defend the takedown if that comes right after. Okay, so it gives me less time to defend the takedown. So that's where you have to watch out for. Hard punches. Always hit hard, because if they don't count, they just walk through it. Might take you down or counter.
If you get rocked with a punch, what would you do? It shakes you.
Yeah.
Feel it.
It depends. And again, it's what situation. Like, my wrestling sucked in my career. It always sucked. Like, I never had a takedown yet. I have, I believe, 14 submission victories. So that meant that when they took me down, I just made sure I was good on the ground. But my wrestling was never good, because we don't have that in Holland. So if you get rocked, and what I do in Thai boxing, I close the distance, hold him close to me. I put my hip against his hip on the side, because once I push my hip against their hip, they can't knee, they can't get an angle. They can knee a little bit upwards, but as long as I don't lean in, the knee cannot hit me. If I stand there, it shuts up, because I just keep my hip constantly pushed against his hips. That's either that, but then if it's mixed martial arts, they might take you down. So you have to watch out for that. Otherwise, it's just moving out. And then start acting like you're crazy. Because if they realize that you're dizzy, that's not a good thing. Stop punches, keep your hands low. That's what I do. I talked about this with Pedro Hizo. He hit me one time really hard with a liver kick. And boy, I was almost like, if he would have hit me there one more time, that would have been it for me. And so what I started doing, I started throwing on purpose a lot of right straights, because it will be a very dumb thing from somebody to do if he's hurt here to throw a right, because every time I open with the right hand, I'm exposing my body, and he knows that. So my bluff worked, because he didn't realize that he hurt me. So you see, so if somebody hits you to the head, you can give a little smile and then keep your hands low. Keep him here. Then you got to go, well, wait a minute, I just hit him. His hands are not up. But then, of course, you have to make sure that you stay outside this range. I'm not saying let yourself get hit, because you're going to get knocked out. But then you need to footwork the whole time. And it's not bad to run. Every time we saw it with yesterday. We were watching the fight McGregor and Diaz too. You see, McGregor suddenly he turns around and he kind of jogs away. And some people always say, "Oh, you're scared." He's not. He's completely in control. He needs an extra breather. He steps away, he comes back good again. And that's what you can do when you get hit in the face as well. So it's either clinching or get the heck out of there, and angles. What you have to work on? This is a really cool thing. With a partner, let somebody try to punch and kick you while you only move backwards. We do this in the class here with the drill. But if you're moving back to the side the whole time, it's very hard to land a good punch on somebody. You just have to do it a whole bunch of times. And then once you start seeing the movement, that's when I say, okay, when you see an opening, throw a right straight. Or then I start giving them counters. I actually had a workout like that also in here one time We did that, I think. Or maybe it was
we did.
We talked about it at least, huh?
Yeah, we did like a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was at the Q&A as well.
Maybe.
Yeah. So then, you just, but keep your eyes on your opponent, moving back and to the side. It's very hard for your partner to land a punch. But you have to work for it first.
What are some favorite entries for a clinch? And what's your take on Thai clinch defense?
I have the best Thai clinch defense. And I've not seen anybody use that. It's actually pretty cool. And I'll show it with data in a bit. Well, you have to fight yourself in, right? You cannot just go in there because you're going to work on a punch. So you have to set up with a combination. Most of the time, what really works with me is the left hook and a right body shot, and then you come up and there's a clinch. So you're changing levels. I really like that because they will change most of the time level with you. If I low up and I come back up, then suddenly there's the clinch. My clinch defense to keep my neck muscles relaxed. But you got to do it exactly like I'm saying, because sometimes when I explain it in class, they're still not doing it. Is this. So she's grabbing my head. So if it's a good neck muscle person, they put the hands high on the head here, right? Because now you have the leverage. That's why you want to clinch. Because if I'm doing here, there's no way I can hold her head from going back. If I'm here, she's got no power. And this is my weak arm too. So now what I like to do, I do this with in Thai boxing. If the guy's faster with his hands, that's I go for a clinch. And I start constantly moving, bringing to the side. I try to put a lot of lactic acid in those neck muscles because they will slow them down in the shoulders. Hopefully, it's better. So, with that in mind, if people do it on me, I go like, how do I protect myself that my neck muscles don't get tired? So what I'm doing, I'm going to put my hand over her biceps and her other hand, and I put my forehead on my forearm, on the top of my forearm. Now you're going to feel your skin is going to hurt because they're going to push your head against you, but that's it. A lot of people don't want that because they pull it away, but now you get stress on your neck. You're completely stress-free, your neck. Look, if she grabs my neck to her head and do this, she can pull whatever she wants. I have zero stress on my neck. Now another great thing that comes with it, if she would start fighting now, or kneeing, I start walking forward. It's the worst thing for her, see? If she starts kneeing, I just don't give her time, I just start pushing her. And preferably also to the side, because otherwise they can start adapting. Another great thing is, we're doing on this side. So see, she has my neck, and this goes over here on the biceps, my forehead goes on here. Now look what I got here, body shot. Don't go too hard with the body shots, you want to keep the ace. The ace is this one, but she can't see coming because it's blocked. Boom. There's your uppercut. So if you hit too hard with a body shot, they might let you go. And then you don't have that ace in the pocket that you have. But otherwise, you can just soft them up, and then suddenly from here, you're pulling the arm out, and you go with an uppercut. You're turning your body. You never do this. You stay like, never do that. Always turn your upper body. So while you're pulling this arm out, there's the uppercut. And if you really want to land it, you can put the head against the body, slide it over to the body. That's how we used to do uppercuts. Sorry. I would hit I would slam it on the chest. Because sometimes when they move backwards, I'm going to miss an uppercut. But now if she moves backwards, I'm still going to nail it. See? Oh, yeah. It slides over. So that's kind of a fun thing to try out. You can do this also when you're in the guard with somebody. Lay the arm here. What I do, what's better, I do with the palm strike. So I'm sitting in somebody's guard, and I'm just having my hand here, and I don't do anything with it. I don't open it up yet. You just wait. And then if you see an opening, if he looks up with his head, you go boom, you slide over the chest into his face. It's a pretty powerful motion, but you have to wait till he looks up, and then you nail him on the jaw.
Speaking of neck stuff, so Damon has 6 neck fusions. That you have 4.
4, yeah.
Okay, I think he has 6. That's like almost all of the cervical vertebrae. He still spars. He still lifts heavy. He wants to know, honestly, he's like, is that dumb? Like, do you think that's
I was just going to say, don't do that. But sparring, don't do it. All you need is one wrong person to hit you at the moment you don't expect it. If the fusion breaks, dude, like my doctor told me, I have 4 fusions, front and back, so they're completely locked in. And he said, oh, you can spar. I go, are you stupid? That's literally what I told the doctor. I go, don't. Power training is good. Neck training, muscles around your neck is also good. But don't go crazy with crazy weights. You just want to make sure. Your fusions, if you got 6 or 7, that's a crazy amount. Your mobility is almost, it has to be gone, right? I have a friend of mine who has 5. He's literally this. That's only he's got. And he can, I can't put my chin on my chest anymore. That's the only thing. For the rest, I'm still pretty good. The problem with this is that the one on the bottom and the one on top, they're going to have way more work now. Because normally it spreads them out. They got to get the double of work. So in the future, you might need another fusion. That's why I say don't spar, man. Don't. Okay. Power training good, sparring no.
Someone else wants to know if you can talk about how you think you got some of your injuries in MMA.
Well, in MMA, I was actually pretty good.
Or maybe or just injuries
in general.
In general.
So for me, what killed me, I always call it tendonitis, but it is a different name. But it's attacking the tendons. That stopped my career, and it is because my tendons are weaker than my muscles, and it comes because when I was a kid, I took way too many cortisones. They didn't know the later effects of cortisones yet when I was young. We're talking about 1970, right? And they just chocked me full with that crap. So I got a lot of cortisone shots, and it started affecting my tendons. Really weird. My track and field, I had it already there. Because later I recognized that pain. And somehow, very luckily for me, it didn't come back. At least I had a career in fighting. Yeah. Because that was weird.
Yeah, that was it's a known side effect of steroids.
Yeah, and so that's killing me. Once that happens, it's really it's the most painful thing ever. I mean, I would lose weight I couldn't eat that from the pain anymore.
And by steroids, I mean anti-inflammatory.
Yeah,
steroids,
corticosteroids.
Not. Yeah. Couple people want to know why did you want to fight Rickson Gracie so badly?
Because Rickson is so good on the ground. I saw the documentary Choke, and I saw this guy roll. I saw another seminar of him, and I was just amazed with how fluid this guy is. He's such a great ground fighter. So for me, that was just a challenge to me to see if he could submit me. In the beginning, I know, but once I got on my winning streak and I start, because I started understanding the ground game, and my ground game is different than other people because I taught myself, so I didn't have to pay respect or homage to people that, who trained me. And I made everything tweaked a little different, I came up with crazy things. I talked about it like a few question and answers. I mean, even BJ Penn gave me compliments. He said, you came up with that? Because I use only hand control. I always grab the inside hand so that you can't move your arm anymore. Your opponent can't do that anymore. But I do that with everything, with arm bars, or wherever I go for, pretty much always I have the inside hand control. It's very hard to escape, and I got a lot of fun submissions coming from that. And BJ Penn was like, who taught you that? I said, I did it myself because otherwise they can't escape. Go, dude, it's really good. He really enjoyed that. So coming from him, that was at the moment I didn't know BJ. He just called me out of the blue when I had my big DVDs of combat. And he enjoyed them very much, he said. I go, before he hang up, I say, hey, can I use your quote? Because that's a badass quote for BJ Penn, the prodigy.
Mm-hmm. How would you have fought Couture?
Ready? Mm-hmm. Striking, stay away from the clinch, of course, because that you don't want to be in the clinch with Randy Couture. That's it, because he will take you down. So I hopefully striking, hopefully I could stop the takedowns, and then and on the ground, I got some. I could do some skills, but yeah, Randy, once he's on top, he's a dangerous guy. Great balance because of his wrestling skills. He's got power in his hands as well, and then it's just very hard to get off of you. So. But yeah, try striking and try to avoid the takedown and the clinch.
Speaking about good takedown opponents, how would you low kick against someone who's really good at takedowns?
Yeah, well, you shouldn't do low kicks. That's how freaking Kevin Randleman got me. Because the day before the fight, we're in the elevator together, and the door closes, and we're only the two guys in the elevator, and I see him smirking. In the mirror, there was a reflection of the door. So I'm standing and suddenly he says to me, hey, if you promise to keep your feet on the floor, I promise not to take you down. And I look at him, I go, are you serious? And he goes, yeah. I go, okay, well, I'll think about it. Good. And then it opened up, he said, have a great fight tomorrow. I go, yeah, you too. And that was it. So the next day we're fighting. And then he starts challenging me to kick his thigh. And I go like, wait a minute, he told me that I shouldn't do this. Or that if I shouldn't kick, if I didn't kick, he wouldn't take me down. But now he's challenging me. And I go, oh, now I got it. I thought I was very smart. I said, I'm going to fake a low kick, but I changed it into a front kick. Because if at the moment, if he does this and he expects a low kick, and I come here, he comes in, I go kick him in the face, right, while he tries to take me down, I go, oh, that's going to be great. So I did that, whoop, and I kicked, and he moved away from me, which is something I never expected. I always thought he would come forward and grab it. And I go, wait a minute, he's backing up for my kicks. Oh, that's kick. And that was the first kick, and he took me down immediately. So, and later he told me that that was a setup. He said that I did that on purpose. So that was a very smart thing of him to trick me out there. He got me.
So for someone else who asked for a funny Randleman story, there you go.
Yeah.
That was it. You got to answer the question you didn't even know was there. Going back to your injuries, a few people want to know. They have atrophy. Someone has atrophy of their legs. Someone has atrophy of their arm too. How do you deal with that? And do you think it's possible to fully recover?
I'm working now with a lady. Well, she told me what to do. And I bought a special glove. They do it like for women have that. It kind of scrubs a little bit. You know, one of those gloves that you can clean up.
Yeah, like exfoliate.
Exfoliate.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So what I do, and somebody else needs to do it for you. So if I'm watching TV and my wife sits next to me, I'll give her the glove, and she has to constantly go over my arm for just like for 10 minutes or so. What you're doing is you're triggering your mind because most of the time it's just the nerves that needs to be fired up. They need to be reminded that they're still there. Then also it's really good that somebody else does it, is squeezing in your nail. So you grab the top of the nail from the arm that is hurt, and you push, then go 40% or 60%. What I did, because then my wife doesn't have to do it all the time, I just have an, how you call it? How you call that thing? A tongue.
Like, okay, like tongs or...
Yeah, just like what you screws with, you know, I think like, this is a simple thing. Just
in the kitchen or a tool?
No, a tool.
A tool, like a...
The most used thing.
Pliers.
Like a plier, pretty much, yeah. But then the big ones, right? And then I just put it on my fingertips while I'm watching TV, and I go 20%, 40%, 80%, till I feel the pain. You just have to constantly make that connection between the nerves and the mind, because if that connection is there, like with me, it's there, but it's just a really slow, low energy. It's like it's somewhere caught. And the doctor says it's like, explain it to me like a tube, a water hose. If you squeeze a water hose, less water comes out. That's the same with here. Something is squeezed, somewhere it's blocked, and less energy comes out, nerve energy, whatever you call it. So that's why it's not working. So now I'm trying to fire them up by doing all those touching things and squeezing my fingertips.
So a lot of like tactile, sensory.
Yeah. And then one of those brushes that you can clean your nails with, you know, those brushes, also go over your arm the whole time. Make your arm aware that there are nerves.
What would be good would be like a body brush. I mean, it's similar.
Yeah.
Like right height, because it's exfoliating dead skin, but yeah, they're a little bit more abrasive. That could be a good thing. That's very interesting. What about the psychological effects of injuries?
Yeah, you know, you have to just commit to it, man. I was so sick of it. You have to understand. And I was just talking to Todd Bjornton, my old buddy. I reconnected with him from Pancras also, and he was talking about it in the subway. I would do one-arm pull-ups. I was really freaking strong. You know, iron cross. I did all that stuff. You know, I would swing in the. I love to do that stuff from the bars that you hold on in the subway. Mm-hmm. I mean, the other one would be like 15 feet away. I would start swinging and then go in the subway, go to the other one. I would always play around in the subway. So going from that suddenly to not be able to grab the milk out of the fridge, yeah, that's a mental breaker, man. That's like you start getting worried. And I couldn't pull the trigger from a gun. So you have the zero power in my hands. Once my power came back in my hands, and this looks still bad, I said, I'm good now. Once I looked at Nick Newell, the fighter, a congenital arm amputee. He's born with half an arm. He doesn't even have a hand. Watch this guy fight. He's freaking awesome. He's a really good fighter. And I'm complaining That's what literally when I told him, I see him fight, and I know him for a long time already. And he told me he was going to be a good fighter because I met him on the set of Here Comes the Boom, all the way back. And I said, really, with that arm? He said, yeah. I said, dude, if you do that, that will be unbelievable. So I sent him my DVDs, and I sent him the workouts, everything that I had, I wanted to help him. And look at him now, man. This guy can fight. It's unbelievable. And he has half an arm. So at that moment when I saw him fight and I was complaining, at least I got my hand back. I go, I'm going to stop complaining now. It's really not that bad. He doesn't even have a hand. I have a hand again, and it works again. I can snip my fingers again. I couldn't do that for 4 years. Couldn't eat with chopsticks. Couldn't do anything. That was really weird.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It goes back to be grateful for what you do have.
That's it. That's literally it. Look, I'm healthy. I'm feeling good. We're doing this. And I got my hand back. I can squeeze. And I overthink things because I think I always go to worst. I'm very paranoid with that. I like to be prepared for worst case scenario. And you start coming up with these weird things like, what if your daughter falls over a cliff and you have to grab her with your hand, and how long can you hold? Because she can't hold. Imagine if that would happen because your hand is so weak. That would, you start thinking weird things. So just use your other arm. It's strong enough.
Going to the grip, Batman wants to know, how do you train your grip, or how do you get your grip stronger? He wants to get his grip stronger. The
stronger grip, you want my whole, buy a Dynaball. The Dynaball, that thing that you have to pull, and there's a ball inside that ball, and you have to find it in such a way it goes, and it goes like 6,000 or 8,000 or 12,000 turns in per minute. And that thing you have to hold on to really tight, and it's really good. It doesn't increase your strength, but all my students, if I would grapple, they would go right away, oh God, he's been using the ball again. They would tell each other because your grip gets really. It's just you grip, you don't squeeze up, but you can't get out. So I really like that thing. You go to the right side, you go to the left side, and I will have it in my car. And I will 1 minute, I look at the clock, and 1 minute on this side. 1 minute on this side, and I'll just do 10 times on each side, so 20 minutes. So I always like to do, when I'm in like for instance, I have a certain prayers, like a rosary. I do that while I'm stretching. I always like to do two things simultaneously. If I'm in the car, I don't do anything. Why? I have a weight in the car. Yeah. And I go with 10 pounds, really small ones, because the bottom here, as you can see that's gone. There's a dent here. You see, and I'm trying to refire these by simply using a weight and little movements like that. Focusing only on that.
Yeah, I know. I like to multitask too.
Yeah. Always.
What else could I be doing at the same time?
Yeah.
I know. There's
a waste of time otherwise.
What do you think about a lot of fancy footwork, like these shuffles and stuff, or do you just tend to keep it more basic?
Yeah, I keep it basic. You never see me doing that crazy stuff. I think for me it's more effective. Again, especially with Dwayne Bang now and the way he's teaching these guys with their footwork, I'm pretty sure that, if I would be able to fight, I would start fighting like that as well. Start switching stances, start moving with distraction, then throw a jab. I never throw jabs. That's why I have such a high accuracy rate. It's because I just like to only hit what I feel I can connect. But now, with seeing the success that they have with it, I would, can you imagine somebody my weight moving like that? Mm-hmm. That would be very distracting. I don't know anybody in 205 who does that. Mm-hmm. Like moves like TJ Dillashaw, Dominic Cruz. Right? Think about it. That would be cool.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about bare-knuckle boxing?
Bare-knuckle boxing was great. Unfortunately, I was the president for a short amount of time, and it went horribly wrong with that organization. But it's going to be all going to be solved because it's they're going to sue the guy now, I hear. And then people know. I explained the whole thing. Anyway, bare-knuckle boxing. They asked me for that organization, and I said no. After this, when this happened, I never want to be a promoter again because you don't. If I do it, I need to be with somebody 100%. Without positive, I asked for all the money. I asked for bank statements, proof of funds. My lawyer let him send all the proof of funds. The money was in the bank, and then somehow the fighters didn't get paid. Wow. So yeah, that was really hard. Bare-knuckle boxing, it's great. I love it. You got more lacerations, of course. It's safer CTE wise than regular boxing with Thai boxing. Because what happens with bare-knuckle boxing? That's why they invented the glove, right? To protect the hand, because the hands were breaking in the early days. I mean, and if somebody would be a champion, just became a champion, but he broke his hand, now he cannot defend his title. So they came up with the boxing glove. Now, when you take the boxing glove out, it's a different strategy. All these guys, the new ones who come from Thai boxing and boxing, they break their hands if they're not. But the ones who are doing it for a while, they attack the body with the bare knuckles, and then on the head they go more soft. You know, and unfortunately, in bare knuckle boxing, they won't allow you to hit with the palm, which is actually fortunately, I would say, not unfortunately, because that you can generate so much power. Look at me with bankers. I would just knock people out like that because I hit with the bone. You know, I don't slap him. I just hit with the wrist bone. You know, so I love bare knuckle boxing. It's a completely different strategy. But the show we had was a really badass show, man. There was some great fights. The ladies too. Oof, what a show.
That's cool. Are you friends with Krokop still?
Yeah, I know Krokop. You know, it's not like I'm going to go hang out with him on tea and things like that. But he, at the time, I was the only guy that he wanted me him to interview. He didn't want anybody else, so that was cool. And I remember the first time I interviewed him, he gave me literally his shirt off his back, and he had to go over the street. I said, "You don't have a shirt now." He says, "Don't worry about it." So he said, "I want you to have that." So that was cool. That's how we set up the whole trick. If you haven't seen this, the prank with Krokop and Mauro Ranallo, go to YouTube and you will see it, because I set that up with Krokop. Because Mauro was very afraid of Krokop, and I set it up in such a way that he had to interview him, and then I let Krokop be very difficult to him. He's shitting. He was so afraid. It was so funny. So Mauro Ranallo Krokop prank. Just YouTube that. It's very funny.
That's funny. How do you know when you're too old to fight?
Well, in training, you know, you start slowing down. This is the thing. Strength will be there. I'm pretty sure I'm very strong still, except for this arm, of course. But it's you start slowing down the speed, and that's just not good. I want to use examples. I'm not going to use examples because I don't like to use examples. But I've seen guys who want to make a comeback, and I saw them with the Thai pads, and I go, if they don't see themselves that they shouldn't make a comeback, this is not what you used to do. You're pushing instead of snapping punches, you know, and that's, you know, against the young guy, you're going to get knocked out.
What do you think of Tyson making his comeback?
Yeah, but Tyson is, he's my man, you know. We just already asked about if we saw Tyson train. There's a tweet out there, you know, and I will retweet it now actually, and then you can see him. Watch at this, looks upper body rotation. Man, it's really freaky.
And then someone was like, "Hey, why don't you fight?" And you guys are.
Yeah, right. You see, that is something I don't want to do. Boxing Mike Tyson. Okay, I just retweeted it. Oh man, I'm loving when I see this guy. There's this. Look at his upper body rotation, how he rolls. Oh yeah. Oh, you see, that's what I talk about. That is that upper body rotation that he has. Look at this. Walk. Yeah.
So good.
That's some serious power. I love that, man. His name gets mentioned the most in my classes and at seminars all the time because so much respect. That's why my stance is like that. That together with Ramon Dekkers, we blend that together because I believe he's pound for pound the best Thai boxer ever.
What was your favorite Pride fight?
So many. I mean, the Vanderlei Silva against Sakuraba, the way he was just like stomping, soccer kicking, it was crazy. Krokop versus Fedor. What about Nogueira versus Bob Sapp when that happened? When we thought we pile drive him into the ground. I'm doing commentating and I thought we have a first death. That's literally what I thought. But Nogueira, man, these guys get hit by a car and they don't care. He just landed, boom, and then put him in an armbar. But he spiked him. I mean, there was somebody who went down for a takedown here. Nogueira stood here, and Bob Sapp grabbed him around the waist, upside down, and he pile drive him into the ground, head first. So that's why I thought, okay, now we got a first death. Because he was like, 300 pounds? Freaking gigantic muscle, holding him, dropping with his weight on his neck. Man, those Nogueira brothers, man, they're so freaky strong and I think so tough.
That sounds like not a good
No,
combination.
very scary.
Were you ever scared before one of your fights? Like really scared?
No. That you don't have. If as long as you're prepared, then you don't have that. You have I would have nerves when I would come into the arena. Only then, pretty much, and then that would disappear again. That's really weird. But what I would do, I would go to the ring or the cage, wherever I had, and I always liked to just, when nobody was there, like hours before, like 4 hours before, because in Japan they let you arrive very early because they don't want anything to go wrong. I would just lay in it, just staring at the ceiling, and it would somehow make me calm.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so.
Kind of like meditative.
Yeah.
When you were in Japan, were you ever asked to fight in K1? Keith wants to know.
You know, K1, I have to. I'm a great striker. No, I'm a good striker. These guys are great strikers. You know, yes, I blossomed a lot. My Thai boxing, when I was Thai boxing, I was just a wild man with a lot of power, and I just slaughtered people. But if I had to go against a good guy, like a Peter Earth at that time, you know, I couldn't make, at that moment, Peter, he fights the same in the gym as he fights under pressure. And I always tell my students that once you do that, then you become really good. When you can do that, because that's the hardest thing to do. I didn't have that. Where that was born with me was literally in Japan. My first fight in Japan, it was so quiet. Nobody said anything. I didn't feel any negativity. It's like almost like when people are screaming at me, I pick up on that. I was such a wild guy. And I remember coming back in Japan and watch the video of me knocking the guy out and watch the magazines. They have great magazines, like 5 different magazines, all martial arts magazines. You have like 6 pages with pictures of you. It's really cool if you're a fighter because they spend a lot of time on each fighter. So I would go, wow, this is so cool. And what blew me away in Thai boxing, every punch I make, you see my face. I just trying to kill. And in Bangladesh, there was no facial emotions. I would block a punch. Normally I go, I block a punch like this with this one, or a kick. I would just I was completely going, what the heck is going on? Also, I could hear everything. I heard my people, American people were sitting first row. I could hear what they were talking about. I go like, it was such a weird experience to me. I was so in the zone. And that happened in Japan. And then suddenly I became the striker that I was in training. Because if I was in training with all these guys, I would do really well as well. But they just, like Peter Earth, for him to buy a brat or to fight, for him, it's the same thing. The guy's just an animal. That's what I always say. And I mentioned it the first time also. I have to change that. And I tried to change it already, but somehow it comes back. I have 12 fights. I didn't have 16 fights. I was talking about that last time here as well, you know, and I was also a draw. It says 16 and 14. No, there was also not a draw. It was no contest. It was when the whole fight broke out.
Oh, right.
You know, I started brawling. The guy bit a hole in my ear. I kneed him in the balls, and then this whole fight broke out there. So you see what I mean? So every time, I don't know, Wikipedia had a black belt in judo, it said. I don't have a black belt in judo. You see that sometimes somebody goes in and they set certain things. I have to change that, I only had 12 fights. I didn't have 16 fights.
What are your thoughts on judo? Someone wanted to know.
Judo's great, you know, of course. It's very strong. And, well, look at Rousey, right? I mean, and look at Kayla Harrison right now. I mean, she's doing phenomenal as well. Judo practitioners are just very, very tough. For what I understand, the Judo World Championships are way tougher than going to the Olympics. That's what somebody told me.
Oh, wow.
So if you're an Olympic champion, but you're a multiple time just regular world champion, apparently it's a really hard tournament. I don't know what they meant with it, but everybody's been saying that. Huh. So, I love Judo.
Interesting. If someone has no partner, Nicholas wants to know, no partner, nothing to hit, do you recommend shadow boxing hard or no because of like overextension of the...
I can hit really hard, but I just don't completely. She's a little. I just don't hyperextend my arm. So as long as you keep squeezing, also don't keep your hands open because that's when you get that problem. But you watch out. You do what I did. You know, put the clothespins from the ceiling down on a string, and then put little post-its in there. Throughout the whole house, I used to have them, and I would hit those things. You know, it's nice to. It makes a nice sound too if you hit it. You know, if you hit it correctly, make hooks, straights. It's fun.
What do you think about the Fedor victory over Randleman after the suplex?
That was just You see, there's another person like that, like a Nogueira. I mean, that suplex from Kevin And that was the fight after he knocked out Krokop. So he knocks out Krokop, fights Fedor, and then he suplexed him. I go, oh, if he wins this, I already told him before the fight, I said, dude, if you win this, I will get injured. You know, write your contract out, renegotiate, you know, get fake injured. Because then you beat Krokop and Fedor, forget about it. You're gonna make a good check, good money.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite combo to end with a high kick?
What I really like is after like a body shot, because not many people do it, you know, because you're so close, and not many people are going to expect it. But you see TJ Dillashaw, see, he's doing that stuff because Dwayne is teaching him that. That I love. Also, right straight to the body and then a left high kick, or a left straight to the body with the right high kick. Those are really good ones as well to set it up. But always I would go, to the body, nothing high, only. When he's blocking, we talked about that yesterday, I believe. Mm-hmm. If she blocks my punch every time to the side, like with her right arm, see? And if she constantly do that, that means she's going to be open for a moment. Then I throw a right with the right roundhouse kick behind it. Because then she pushes out the side and the kick is going to hit in the neck. So, But body shots with high kicks, but you need to be good flexible for that. So start stretching. Do that wide stretch, standing up straight though. Always keep standing straight, because that's how you kick. You don't kick while leaning over.
Who do you think would have won in their prime, Chuck or Krokop? Tony wants to know.
Oh, yeah, that's a hard one. I think Krokop was so devastating when Chuck's power in his hands. He's got really great power in his hands. You know, if he lands a punch, well, Krokop has been knocked out, right? So it's not like it's not like a Mark Hunt. Although Mark Hunt has been knocked out, but I mean, he got kicked in the head by Krokop. He took a knee and stood up and kept fighting. What? Like full in the head. Boom. Drops on his knee, stands up, keeps going forward. So that's a strong job. But he got knocked out actually by Melvin Manhoef, Dutch guy, way lighter than him. But Manhoef is an animal. And what really knocked him out, I believe, in that fight, is the steel cup from Manhoef. I think I talked about this maybe. He dropped him, boof, and then he fell over, and he hit him. You see his head bounce on his cup. That's what I think. If you watch it the fight, then you can see it. And I know the Dutch guys, because I used to wear them too, we have the steel cups. So that was maybe that sealed the deal.
Yeah.
Points that sealed the deal.
Ah. Any training stories gone wrong?
Training stories gone wrong. No, not to, for me, I got somebody in a triangle choke and they smashed me in the corner. That was for my UFC fight. Yeah. That was not good. That was not nice that they did that. And that was before I fought Kosaka. And that happened 6 weeks before, so I couldn't do anything on the ground. That was a nightmare, Yeah. That's why the Kosaka fight, in the beginning, he takes me down, I reverse him right away. But then, later suddenly I start stopping all the takedowns. I just had to adjust because I couldn't train for that.
Yeah. What do you regret? Anything that happened, like with all the injuries you have now?
No, I don't regret anything. I truly believe everything happens for a reason. If I didn't have injuries, I would have kept fighting, and eventually I'm going to lose. I should be very happy right now because I didn't lose in my last 22 fights. That's a great way to stop a career, And I know myself. I'm that knucklehead who still thinks he can hang with the youth, and I'm going to lose. Of course I'm going to lose. I'm 55 years old. Half my age. These guys have been training their entire lives already because it's a new sport. I mean, they were born when I started fighting. 93, think about that. They're just 27 years old right now. I started fighting in 93. So...
Yeah. I still think you can take a lot of them.
Yeah, but street fighting, I have more chance. Street fighting, because I can do some illegal stuff that you can't do in fighting. I have more chance there, yeah.
In your prime, how many times a week did you exercise?
10. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 2 times a day. Wednesday once, Saturday once, Sunday off.
Okay. You actually wrote days, Alex, but got you your answer.
And my workouts also, like an hour, 5 minutes. People go, I train my body to throw out a lot of energy in a short amount of time because that's what you're going to do. I don't understand. Actually, we talked about this last
Right.
time also. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand people who can 6 or 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
I never got that.
Yeah.
Never got it. You don't gain anything with that. Just
Yeah.
train your body hard.
Definitely. Yeah. You're not going hard 6 to 8 hours a day. 'Cause
No.
You can't. Your body would stop functioning.
Yeah. Maybe it's good to grind a certain submission in there. I completely get that. But every day, I mean,
Yeah.
No.
That's crazy.
too much.
What age do you think kids should start fighting at? Or at?
I would fighting, competing. I would say 18. You know,
Okay.
depends. That's why go jiu-jitsu, go do all that stuff. I know.
Maybe let's say training too. I think they wrote fighting, but
Training you can do early, but you know, for boxing you have to watch out. Of course, you don't want your kid to get hit in the head the whole time. It's simply not good. Jiu-jitsu is one of the best things to put your kids on for all the connections. It's really good mind-body connection. Will help them in school. It will help them everywhere. That's why it's so good to do Brazilian Jiu-jitsu or just judo or jiu-jitsu or whatever it is. You know, but rolling is great. Sparring and competing, I would stay away, especially with striking. I can understand the kids really want to do it, you know, with good supervision. But I'm simply not a big fan of it. Not because I don't think they cannot do it, but I just don't want kids to get hurt if they're still developing. You know, the brain is still developing, and then it gets hit. It cannot be good. Nobody can tell me that it's good for a kid. So that's the only reason.
Brian wants to know if you think MMA is becoming more entertainment versus best in the division.
Well, you need the entertainment as well, of course, but it's still the best in the division. Yeah, but once in a while you have these crazy fights indeed that you go like, what was this? It's Pride. Used to have that a lot. You know, you got this Minowa fighting a 600-pound sumo guy. You know, and those crazy fights. I remember that sumo guy. He had to sit in the arena on the chair like an hour before because otherwise he would be tired from walking all the way to the ring.
No way.
And he had to fight, yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah, guess what happened, right?
Yeah.
He got stopped, of course.
Okay, let's take one more. Simon wants to know any advice for an older person fighting a younger person.
Speed. That's everything you need. You need to train your body to trigger faster. What helps a lot is really fast punches on the back. And no power. Go just go speed. Go just literally. Just this. I know it looks really stupid, and I know it is, but it will burn your shoulders out. But somehow it triggers your mind to fire faster. And that will come back when you start throwing combination. You're going to go like, whoa, crap. I'm much faster. How is that possible? That's literally how I figured it out. Because I started doing that, and then I became way more fast. And that was just because of that. You just go speed, and then later you attach the power to it and the technique.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, you guys. So we're at 11:03. Who hit you the hardest? We'll take one more. Robin.
Yeah, in a fight, I never had that. I'm blessed with that. In training, Peter Earth hit me one time really hard. Then I got Peter Rizzo also. But you know, when I saw that back on video, it was so stupid. It was almost like he didn't touch me. I felt like he freaking exploded on me. Go, bang! I go, whoa! I felt that one, you know, but I didn't let him know, of course. But then when I look back, it was like one of those stupid punches. I guess he caught me when it was really weird. Sometimes I got hit so hard that I got hit with a baseball bat with a nail in it. I got back with nunchucks. I with a Coca-Cola bottle, I believe, on my head. Never been. I fell from the roof on my face. Like, I thought I was going to be able, but you see, it was a little longer than the ground was, the chair. So my arms, my arms were a little shorter. And my hand was up there. Nothing.
Oh my God.
No, I fell right on my teeth. All my teeth are still in. I have no clue how it was possible. That's very weird. Can I get rid of this person? Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
All right.
Okie dokie.
I'll see you guys tomorrow for recovery. Remember, your 2 balls.
Guys are always having me with them. Anyway.
Yeah. They don't want to roll their back on those, I don't think.
Yeah, no. That's going to hurt. What was that? What was that joke?
Someone said something about the steel cup, too.
So, there was this guy, I'm probably going to butcher the joke, but apparently there was this guy, this wrestler, a Russian wrestler. And he's very known. He had a special move. They call it the pretzel move. He would pretzel his opponent in such a way that they were unable to compete. Nobody could defend against it. So this guy has been training for it, but nobody knows really the defense for it. And he's in the wrestling competition, and boom, yes, the guy locked him up. He has him in the pretzel hold. So everybody goes, fight's over. And suddenly the guy lets go, and the person who was in trouble takes him down, splashes him, boom, scores, wins the match. So his trainer goes to him, and everybody's asking him, he says, dude, how did you get out of it? He says, I don't know, man. It was so weird. I was fighting, and I was in such a weird position. And suddenly, I saw two balls hanging in front of me. And I figured, you know what? I'm going to bite him. You know, see if he lets go. And he says, man, the power you get when you bite your own balls, it's crazy. So, that was...
Oh, my God.
That's why he was in a really weird position. And that's how he escaped the move. That's an old joke. I mean, I know that thing like 30 years ago.
I've heard that one.
Oh, shoot, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the wonderful questions.
And
some of the answers from other questions were on last week. Like someone asked your favorite book. It's The Alchemist.
Alchemist. She got it.
Some of the other answers are on other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you want to be busy all day long, 3 times a day, the greatest salesman in the world, or the world's greatest salesman, what is it? World's greatest salesman, I believe. That's enough, but it's going to take you 10 months to read.
So that's right.
You're going to have to do that. You look into it. That's a fun thing to do as well.
Have a great Saturday, everyone.
Yes, great weekend. Godspeed, be safe, and hopefully we can start opening up the country again, start working, because this is getting crazy, right?
Yes.
Adios.